Hello, it's Zeke with the Eastside Church of Christ in Baytown, Texas. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Looking Up. You know, some certain stories in the Bible are ones that I come back to again and again and again, and some of those are parables. Maybe one of the most famous parables that Jesus told is the parable of the sower and the seed. You find it in Matthew 13 and in Mark 4 and Luke 8. Of course, everybody knows that parable. It's a popular one for good reason. Everybody can identify with it. It's easy to see the various kinds of soils and personalities in people that are offered in that parable. But Luke offers, in Jesus' explanation of the story, something that's hard for me personally. In Luke 8 and in verse 15, at the end of the parable that Jesus tells, as he explains it, he says, "But the good seed and the good soil, these are the ones who have heard the word in an honest and good heart, and hold it fast and bear fruit with perseverance." The reason that's hard is because Jesus says that growth takes time and effort. Now, if we look at the work of a farmer, we know that that's true, right? When he plants seed, it doesn't just spring up overnight, right? It takes time. He's got to work the soil. He's got to cultivate it. And Jesus is basically telling us that's what we've got to do. We've got to cultivate the seed that's been planted in us. And you know, it's true that a person can move from lost to saved in a heartbeat, from profane to pious, from unholy to holy. But sanctification, that's another story. Sometimes, if truth be told, it moves a little too slow for me. See, I want to be a spiritual giant. I want to be the guy that offers sage and spiritual advice to others. I want to be able to be patient with those who slip from time to time. I want to be able to offer the gospel to a world that sorely needs it, even though there are a few that seem to want to listen. In other words, I want to bear fruit in my life. I want to offer the outliving of the in-living Christ. But that takes time and work and more time. And usually I find that I'm the one who needs sage advice offered to him. I'm the one who slips from time to time. I'm the one who needs patience and help. Like you, I've had to exercise a lot of patience and perseverance lately. As followers of Christ, we all have our struggles. We all have our difficulties. Some are different than others. Some we can overcome right away. Others take more time. Days, weeks, months, maybe even years to overcome and to conquer. For me, I'm glad that Jesus is a patient farmer, that he's tending in me something that eventually will grow ripe and ready for him to pick. I'm glad that he continues to work in and through me, even though sometimes I make for pretty sorry soil. But I'll try to be honest and patient in my journey, knowing that eventually there'll be fruit and it'll be ready for harvest. Think about the parable of the sower this week. Think about the kind of soils that Jesus talks about. Again, you can read that parable in Matthew 13, Mark 4, Luke 8. Ask yourself a simple question. What kind of fruit, what kind of soil am I? What kind of fruit am I hoping to ripen? There's a wonderful takeaway from this, and it's in the verse that I find most difficult. Luke 8, verse 15. "As for that in the good soil, they are those who, hearing the word, hold it fast in an honest and good heart, and bear fruit with patience." Some of the takeaways for me are, if I have an honest and good heart, there's a promise in there. A promise that if I just keep with it, even though I slip from time to time, I'll grow and I'll be the fruit that Jesus expects. Well, thanks for joining us today in another episode of Looking Up. Hope you have a good one. God bless you.